Whoa. All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm here with Nisanka, who was our membership coordinator and also runs coaching with Nisanka.com, where she focuses on helping people who are parenting or co-parenting with a narcissist. And she's been my favorite case study of just such a clear niche. And we're talking today because I think it was last year, maybe in the Point of View program, she'd come up with some maps. And I just thought they were such a good example of maps, and I wanted to give her a chance to share them. So, Nisanka, over to you. Would you walk us through your maps?
Okay, so I will share the screen with me. So this is something that I have been using in my signature workshop. So we just go through a couple of activities and we get to this one. And this is just mainly to figure out where they are in their journey. It goes with this. So I started listening to more people, and then patterns may emerge. And this is sort of my recommendation of what they need. It's like three elements that I recommend that they need to work on: relationship with the children, and the strategy and healing from narcissistic abuse. And I thought, okay, so what can I do this to deepen it so that so this is my recommendation, but they need to have the shift in their mind and understanding. And I thought, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. So I've drawn sort of this is obviously 3, 4, 5 years of work research in this little space. And I've just sort of drawn what are the most common strategic problems that they face, and I just put them in there. And then in terms of healthy relationships with the children, then what can I recommend? And these are the areas that I recommended.
Yeah.
And then those two are carried properly when we actually do the inner work to heal. So I've just listed out what it actually feels like to recover from narcissistic abuse. And recovery can be so many ways, and people define recovery in so many ways and healing in so many ways. Narcissistic abuse, the recovery process is a lot longer than any other process because of how the abuse takes place over a long period of time. So I've just listed them out, and
Let's pause for a second because I think we're moving a little too fast. Can you go back to that other map, the vent, and expand it so it's the whole screen? Let's just make it bigger if you can.
I don't know how to hold on, let me see. Okay, I think I can. Oh,
Yeah,
too
there
big?
you go. It's a little too big. Yeah, let's go for
How
150.
about this?
Okay, that's a lot better. Okay. So
Yeah.
what is it at the top? The
It
title is
says three elements that will help you win co-parenting with the narcissist journey.
okay. So the thing I want to point out for people, so we got these three things. So the three things are number one in the kind of red peach color, deepen your relationship with your children. In yellow, we have heal from narcissistic abuse, the inner work. And then in the greenish color, create an effective parallel parenting strategy. Right. So there's three different things there. One, relationship with the kids. Two, your own inner work. Three, dealing with the narcissist. Three different things. And we've got them color coded. And then, of
Yeah.
course, you can see the write up next to it. So this is a Venn diagram. The beautiful thing about having a Venn diagram like this in a signature workshop is it really lets people see what they have and what's missing, and they may be missing all three. Like, oh my, I don't have any of these worked out, or they may be missing just one or two. But in a signature workshop, you can make the case for, look, here are these three things, and here's why they each matter. Here's what happens if you remove one. Like, here's what happens. Like, what if you deepen your relationship with your kids? And you have a great parallel parenting strategy, but you haven't healed. What does that look like? What if you've deepened your relationship with your kids, are healing, but you don't have strategies for the
Mhm.
other parent? Here's what happens. And what if you have, the effective parallel parenting, you're healing, but your relationship with your kid isn't strong? What happens then? So you can really, people start to see, oh my God, I see why each of those circles matter. I see why you can't remove one, why I need all three. So the very first thing is making the case for what these elements are and why they matter. And then if you go, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, this is also really good at what I've noticed is I also want to filter people in because this is
Hmm.
what I also offer. Or filter people out rather. This is what I offer. There's nothing else that I can offer to you. These are the three things that I'll be working with you. Because people are like, oh, I want to hold them accountable. I want to do this. I want to do that. I just don't want to have that conversation because it's just not possible. If you haven't got that understanding, any of that is not going to work. We're going to waste a lot of time talking about it.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like, here's my scope of practice. This is what I do. And anything outside of this, I don't do it. And which, of course, if you go to Nisanka's website and check out her Are We a Fit page, she does a really beautiful job of giving a list of here's the things I will not do for you. Like I won't show up in court for you, for example. And that's very helpful because then people know what to expect, not expect from you. Now let's go to the other chart, the little
Yeah.
wheel. So now you'll notice the same color coding, right? So we've got in green, that's the co-parenting stuff. In red, you've got the stuff for the kids, and then in yellow, you've got the healing, right? So you remember that from the other image. Let's just go back to the other image to show that to people again, right? So you can see the colors. So then we go back to this, the other wheel, and you see the same things in these lines. So the highest possible score you can give yourself is a 10 on these. And so then I'm imagining, so in the workshop, you're having people rank themselves 1 through 10. You're kind of talking about each thing,
Yeah.
having them rank themselves, kind of gut check, where do I think I am on these? And then it gives them in this chart with this magical thing you've done with a spread.
Yeah, it moves. So it's like moves. I'll just do something.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And then so then people can see on this chart, oh,
Yeah.
like this whole now you have those things. Okay, and so wait, so now I see. So you've grouped them all together. It's not, I guess you can't color code it, but you can see that the all the yellow stuff, right? I know myself, I love myself, I'm assertive, um, I can stop abusive behaviors immediately. So that side we can see is the yellow, a lot of it. And then the yeah, so it's in chunks, this pie.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is then people can see, oh, this whole section is absent for me. Or these two sections, like I'm good on this one part of the circle. So in this case, you could say, okay, this person's biggest problem is not the self-healing, though they need work, but their biggest problem is down in the supporting in the red. You know, their relationship with their kid seems pretty weak overall, as does the co-parenting strategies. So they get a sense of, oh, I need help with this. And the great thing is also, it's not saying, look, and you need to work with me. It's
Yeah.
just saying this is the work that's needed, whether you work with me or not.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. What have you found is the response to sharing these to and having people do this chart? I don't know if you've had a chance to do this too much yet, but what
Yeah.
are what are you finding?
Absolutely amazing. This is one of my biggest points where during so I use this during signature workshop and also sometimes during gift sessions because I don't offer discovery calls. I just offer a gift session where they just come in and we just work for like 55 minutes and then they have a chance to ask questions. The response has been absolutely phenomenal and they really grateful for this and there's like really good light bulb moments for them and they're really going and then sometimes when I have the opportunity to I can actually say so look at yours, compare them and just what your reflections are, and also gives me an opportunity to see how they assess themselves. It's like sometimes, for example, they mark it really high here, 999 for all of them, but they don't mark the relationship with their children that high, or this one is very low. And so that's like an indication for me, okay, there's things to uncover. So, and it's an indication for them as well to realize where they are and what they want to do. And also, what I have also been finding is that I can also recommend, actually, you know what, just book a couple of single sessions. That's all you need. Or so I'm in the process of developing group coaching sort of courses as well. What I recommended in the last one was, okay, I've just got this group coaching thing coming up on the strategy. Just, if you've scored low, less than 5 to all the areas, then that might be actually a good fit for you. So I can actually make recommendations of what I actually have on
Mhm.
offer. If this is really low, then I'm like, you know what, you're looking at least 18 months work.
What I love about that is the candor, because I think we're so scared as hippies of overselling, like trying to sell people too much. Um, no problem selling people too little, but we're scared of selling people too much. But I think if we look at it as, instead of I'm trying to convince somebody to buy from me and buy this big package, I'm just saying, look, whether or not it's with me, this is what I see you need, is huge. The other thing that's interesting for me about a self-assessment like this, particularly in a one-on-one session, is um, I could imagine if I had this done for like my 7 fundamentals, just from talking with them, I might differ with their self-evaluation. Oh, I think my niche is really strong. It's this. I'm like, I just heard your niche, and you think it's a 7, but I think it's a 3, you know. So then you can also get a sense of uh okay, where are they really at? What's their level of self-awareness around this? Because then that can also open up a really candid conversation of, look, I hear that. Here's, if you're open to some thoughts, here's why I think you might have scored yourself too low or too high. Like, this is what I'm noticing. And whether or not you share anything, it just, you can know, okay, walking in, there's this. Something I think that'll be interesting for you to notice as you move forward is, as you get people, and you see their initial score. I mean, two things. One is, at the end of it, you can have them score themselves again when you stop working with, and they can then see the growth. Here's where you were before, here's where you are after, which is, people forget how bad it was. It's very, people don't give themselves credit for all the work they did, and how helpful we were sometimes. So you can do that, but also, um, when you're, oh, what was I going to say? When you're working with them, I lost the thread, but it's helpful to see how people rank themselves. Like I have found this specifically with niching. People tend to rank themselves much too high.
Mm.
And so one of the moves I'll say is, go put it on Facebook and ask for reviews. And the reviews are usually pretty sobering. They get a low 1 through 10. Um, but oh, you said something that oh gosh, so good that you're right. You're working with them. It lets you know what you can recommend to them.
Yeah.
And Uh, it may come. But I mean, Nisanka, fundamentally, this is just fantastic. It's so simple. You've got 3 things. Now, really, you've got, what is it, like 15 things or 16 things or
Yeah.
something.
2,
But
3,
what she's chunked it into 3.
15. Yeah, I got 15, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it was like, I'm going to rank you on 15 things, it feels overwhelming. But the visual chunking, and if
Mm.
you go back to the other chart too, the thing I'd point out is that
Yeah.
as a
And
Venn.
this yeah, I was just gonna add, like, it comes from a place of real understanding of my people are as well, my audience as well. They're extremely overwhelmed. They're in the trauma response pretty much all the time. Some are very codependent, heavily trauma bonded, and they've been abused for years, and they don't have the power to say no, and they don't have the power. Some of them are so confused and discombobulated, they're unable to make the choice. They know what they want, but they can't articulate, or they can't choose what they want. And what I've found is this one is like immediate clarity for them. It's like, you know what, I think I really want to work on my boundaries. That's where
Mm.
immediate clarity for them.
It's such a big thing. And so this is, in point of view marketing, we talk about the diagnosis. Because it's not like they're coming to Nisanka saying, Nisanka, I want to deepen my relationship with my child, heal myself from narcissistic abuse, and create effective parallel parenting strategies. They're coming with, I want this guy to pay. I want revenge. I just never want to talk to him again. I want the kid, just run away. Whatever they're saying, they're coming with that. And what Nisanka is saying is like, okay, you have this vision of you having a beautiful, healthy life, your child having a beautiful, healthy life, and as much distance from this person as possible. Here's the three things you got to do. This and here, and also here's the what's realistic and what's not in the prognosis. Like it's not a realistic prognosis to say you get to just cut him off or her off as a co-parent. That's
Mm,
not a realistic thing. Legally, you're going to still have to have some contact. So, within the realistic parameters, here are the three things. Prescriptively, so diagnostically, these are the elements. Oh, that was what I was going to say is you see in this image, we have a Venn diagram. So all three of these equal, right? All three of these are kind of
mm,
some with mine, the seven fundamentals, it's a pyramid, and it's just you have to start with space. If you don't have enough space, you just nothing else happens. Then we move to ethics because if you don't have ethics, everything else gets filtered through an unethical approach, and it's going to burn you. And so it's stages. Whereas this is there's a kind of oh, look, you can start anywhere.
yeah,
It depends where you're at. Gives people that chance to self-evaluate, which is one of the biggest parts in the map. If you go to a mall, big mall, there's always those maps with the you are here. And
mm,
that's the first thing people do when they look at a map is where am I in this? They're trying to locate themselves. And so even just looking at this Venn diagram, people will start to even spatially, like, where am I in this unconsciously? And then if you have a quiz like this, that literally boom, and here you go. This
mm,
is the thing. Uh, People get to see themselves, which even if they don't buy from you is a gift, and helps make the case so clear of is there a gap? What's needed? What isn't needed? And then if you say, look, yeah, you just need a couple sessions. I've said that to so many clients. I'm like, let's just book a session. We can crack this out in an hour. And others, it's like, yeah, this is a couple of years of work, to
yeah,
get to where you want to go. And people are so grateful and relieved to get a candid answer. That like when somebody hears 18 months, there's probably two responses usually. One is like, oh no. And the other is, phew, I kind of thought so. That lands as honest and true and solid. I feel like I can rely on that. And sometimes people will then go away and they'll go to a weekend workshop. It's like we're going to heal all your trauma and get over narcissistic abuse in a weekend, and then it doesn't work. Like I just got an email from a client who she does it's kind of architecture, like I think it's home extensions and all this. And the way she does it is so different. It's more expensive because it's a lot better. But she's like, I'm actually just being honest about the costs. And the other architects, people get burned. And so people will come to her. And this is what she's needing to do, similar kind of thing in the point of view marketing is she'll talk with people and they'll just think, oh, she's too expensive because she hasn't made the case for the point of view yet. And they go to somebody else, they get burned, then they say, we wish we'd hired you. So the way we avoid this is it's like, look, whoever you work with, however you do it, here's what you need. And if you're going to work with an architect, here's the questions to ask. Here's what you need to know to even begin to evaluate this. So, for me, if I was looking at this and I went to some course, another course, this one, Nisanka, thank you very much. And I go to another course on healing from narcissistic abuse. I'm like, wait, it just has the yellow circle.
yeah,
Huh, there's nothing about this, about the relationship with the kids, and there's nothing about creating a parallel parenting strategy. And in fact, even the healing from narcissistic abuse, that part is missing. Like she had six things there, and
yeah,
this one only has one of them. You're
yeah.
giving people this much bigger, clearer understanding, uh, which is so helpful and makes it more likely if it's a fit, the ones who are a fit are going to come back to us and buy from us eventually, and become clients long term.
Yeah. And I was also inspired. I mean, I was inspired because of so many different reasons, but I've also been following other people. and I've paid very close attention to how other people market in the field of narcissistic abuse. I found some online coaches are narcissistic themselves in the way that they sell to the other people because you've talked about, like, was it stabbing and twisting the knife situation? It's that. And sometimes it's like, you've got to heal, you've got to heal, you've got to heal. They're really drumming on what they do,
Uh,
which I think is so damaging to people who, healing itself isn't going to solve this issue because it's a wider, bigger problem. And I obviously have written another blog that goes with it, which I have attached here. You know,
yeah.
um, seven resolutions to stay away, three most important elements of co-parenting. So I've gone into this, but I've also got another map around this where I talk about what it's like to be in this journey. Because at the beginning, you're very confused, and there's going to be a long period of time you're going to be battling with different cohesive systems. It's not just, and that's why healing itself is not going to work. It's not just you and the other person. You're actually going through an entire system that is designed to coerce, particularly harm and punish women in this system. So I think it comes from a very wider angle. And I found I think I sent one of the marketing materials to you. Literally, this advert said, beat the narc in an hour.
Oh God, right.
I'm like, what are you doing? And, that itself is very psychopathic and narcissistic in its nature. You're giving this love bombing
I
promise to people who are in pain. And so I've really looked at such a wider spectrum of things to put this together. This work itself was like 1 hour's work, but actually, like the groundwork was over 4 years of listening to people, and yeah, a lot of research to this.
can you show us that other map about the journey that people go on and where they are?
Yes, it might be on a blog. I don't know if it's here. Can you give me 2 seconds and I can show it to you? Because that's actually a really good map. You
Yeah.
gave me lots of good marks to that one. Here, possible traps of narcissistic abuse, recovery coaching. So the map I gave there is here, this one.
Let's expand it a little bit.
I don't know how. I really don't know how to do this one.
Um, I think, well, you can here. Oh, wait, I think I can do it on my end.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So hierarchy of sub, did it expand on your end?
It didn't. I've got the blog on my screen. I can look at it.
So hierarchy to support to recover from narcissistic
Um,
abuse.
abuse, yeah.
Okay. Oh, right. I remember this one. Right. So yeah, walk us through it here.
So people go through a lot of spaces, and so one thing is the acute abuse, and I don't take people on when they're on at this stage because I'm not equipped to do that. It's just not my area of work, and they need team of people like the police and the social workers and the GPs and the doctors and etc. etc. So acute stage is that, and they also go through something called post-separation abuse. Usually, it's when somebody leaves an abusive relationship, the abuse actually intensifies. So it's really really bad. And my recommendation is you've got to get you and yourself safe, how you do it. I don't know. Drink plenty of water, rest a lot, go and get yourself into benefits and don't work. Get yourself on a holiday, like long-term sick leave or something like that. You really need that care because you're not really ready to do any kind of coaching. Perhaps maybe a little bit of talking and a bit of trauma therapy, yes, but coaching, no. And I've also listed out the kind of people that they need to connect with: police, refugee, community support, friends, family, medical attention, all of that. And then after that, they're going into resurrection stage. And I use the word resurrection because in a narcissistic relationship, if you have actually been abused by a narcissist with narcissistic personality disorder, you're dead inside. It's just a process, and that's what actually happens. You're actually dead inside. You need to resurrect yourself before you go into recovery and healing. You really need to resurrect yourself. And this takes a long time is because of the level of confusion that you go through. So it's the children. This is a stage where parallel parenting strategy is really powerful. So I can tell, you know what? Let's get the strategy. Healing can wait a little bit, but we need to get the strategy in,
Mm.
you know? And then making sense of the experience. Again, I have lots of lists and resources and checklists that they can go through. And yeah, they might be ready for a little bit of coaching and therapy. And again, this is something that I have noticed in a wider sort of online world of narcissistic abuse recovery is it's like everybody's like, you need to get coaching, you need to get therapy. But like, what exactly do you need at this stage? You know, because this is a personal journey I've actually been through, and it was a very, very hard one, a long one. I think I've battled a lot in this area, resurrection stage, because there is no system in place to support people.
Mm.
There is no fluidity in that system. If you have the money, you can make it work. If you don't have the money, which I didn't, and it's so hard, you know? So, and then there is some space for them because without the space, recovery and healing necessarily can't take place because the healing from narcissistic abuse means you're going through a because you're dealing with people who are in prolonged grief, right? And there is actually a disorder called, I can't remember the exact word, but prolonged grief is a thing, and it's specifically to the narcissistic abuse. And so, and there's going to be, and that's when I can go, you know what? Ongoing coaching might be the best thing for you because I do a lot of trauma work around it. I think we need to get into the trauma work. What I found when I delivered the strategy course, I gave a little bit of a taste of trauma work, just here and there, drop here, drop there. And I really let them experience what it's like to do the trauma work. And then I remember somebody saying, you know what, I think I'm going to go and do a little bit more trauma work. Didn't necessarily like what I offered, but kiss them on the forehead and goodbye. But at least you need this now, So for me, it's a big win. And then go into recovery stage. And that's when you start regaining, you can look for regaining agency and authenticity. And then there is this thing, spiritual growth. And when you go through the healing journey is when you get to that spiritual growth. Because sometimes I see conversations often, particularly in the online world, in the spiritual space, somebody starts the conversation with somebody who is going through acute abuse.
Uh-huh.
You know what? This is for a reason. Life happens to you, life happens through you. There is a reason for you. There is a reason for this. But think about how much you're going to grow. And at this stage, it's spiritual bypassing. They're not ready. Their whole nervous system is fried up. But secondly, we're also ignoring the social responsibility, community responsibility. Right, we're just going to brush our hands and put it all down to karma and the spiritual growth, and that's why it's happening. But I'm just not going to even like take your child to school. That sort of situation. Like that's not what they need. I think so. This is a bigger, longer conversations I'm gonna eventually obviously get out through blogs and point of view, but you know, and it's so bad to have that conversation. It's traumatizing for and it's dismissive, but it's equally cohesive to have that conversation with people who are going through like forgiveness.
Right.
You need to heal, you need to forgive to heal. It's not that how it happens. And when it comes to spiritual growth, you can see there's a gift in it. Your child chose you and you chose this, in all of that. That's my thing. And so, and again, I shared this blog with in my email, and one of my clients wrote to me and said, I'm interested in working with you. Looks like I have gone through the resurrection stage. I think I am ready for the healing. And he actually signed up for a long-term program with me. It's like I'm not even selling.
And it's just what happens all the time. Now, the other thing I could see you doing a ranking thing with this too, like similar to what you did of like I don't know, score yourself on these just to see what stage you're at.
Mm,
I could see something like that. But even the thing I want to point out for everyone watching this is so you can see this funnel that kind of goes up. Um, and that's one thing I might add is just like an upward arrow somewhere,
okay.
just so we know the direction of it is that way. Because sometimes a funnel, like the sales funnel, start from the top and go down. But um, once you read it, you kind of get the sense. So number one, this helps people locate where they are, which is huge. Like there are four different stages you can be in. Which stage are you in? Because I can help in this recovery and healing. That's my main jam. A little bit the resurrection, but
Yeah.
mostly the recovery and healing. And what I can't help you with is the acute abuse. That's not where I can help you. And if people can locate where they are, that in itself is a revelation. Because, yeah, somebody may look at this and realize, oh, I've been trying to do the spiritual growth, but actually I'm still in acute abuse. Oh, shit. No wonder this is so hard. No wonder it's not landing and nothing's actually shifting. Um, and also, I can imagine them realizing, oh, that's why it feels so terrible when people say all this spiritual stuff to me. I've thought maybe I'm just not spiritual enough. And that's what I'm hearing that, oh, this is actually that all makes sense. And if they're in the resurrection stage, it's like, and this, yeah, you may be here for a while. Then there's also a mercy. Like when people ask me, how long does it take to get my business to grow? It's like, well, kind of from the moment you really prioritize it and focus on it and you work on the fundamentals, 3 years. And I see people relax. It's like, okay, that makes sense. It feels solid. There's some heft to that idea. Whereas if I said, yeah, like, 6 figures in 6 days, while it's a little exciting or a lot exciting for people, there's a part of people that don't believe it, and then people get burned enough times. And so I mean, you'll probably have this more and more as you grow your business, but I get a lot of the time, and you may have seen it in the membership too when you were talking to people, but so many people like, I wish I'd found your membership sooner. I spent 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, $50,000 with these other coaches and I got burned. I wish I'd found you sooner. And um, the why they're saying they're glad and why they'll say this to you too, I imagine, is because they finally found something that makes sense to them that they can trust, that feels solid, that doesn't feel like hype, that doesn't feel over exaggerated. And it's such a relief to find something we can trust, which is the heart of the point of view marketing, that people would look at it and say, oh my God, that makes sense.
Mm,
I can trust this. That approach, I can see how that would work versus so much sales is trust me, just trust me,
mm,
which is the least trustworthy thing. It's what all the
yeah.
salespeople say versus, look, you can trust this. Here's an approach you can trust, and I trust you to decide whatever is right for you. That's what has the people have the freedom, and then people say, I'd like to work with you. And like, but I didn't even do a pitch. I didn't close you. I didn't use any sales tactics. There was no sales tactics at all. I just shared my point of view for
Mm,
a very specific niche, which you've got. And somebody said that made sense and I'm ready. And you've got a good offer and the price is good. So I'm in.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's it. And this is the advert I was talking to you about. Kiss the narcissist goodbye in 1 power hour. I mean, honestly,
God, that's so foul.
wait, I
Because
know.
it's so, yeah, instant relief, right, from obsessive thoughts.
To- to-
I've seen so much of this for sales. I kind of collect these. I've probably got a few videos I'll do in the next year on some of these ads that
Yeah.
because this is a setup for disappointment. This is a setup for people to, they're not going to get it.
Mm,
And almost always it's a bit of a bait and switch. You respond to these ads and they say, um, you're going to get instant relief, but for it to stick, or yes, in 1 hour you're gonna do, but they suddenly change the terms of
Yeah.
everything, which I mean, just tragically is of course a real gaslighting move.
Yeah, it is gaslighting. It's very,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember Betty, who you of course know, she showed me an ad from a program, and it was for a group business coaching thing. It was like, come and experience or find the unconditional love and community you've always been seeking. And it's just so we don't need to do it. We just need to share a point of view. We just need to have
Yeah,
we share a point of view, and we're good.
yeah.
Well, Nisanka, thank you so much for taking the time. We can stop screen sharing, I guess. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to share this. It's your niche is so clear. That point of view work is so good. I think this will be inspiring for people. If you want to check out Nisanka's work, check out coachingwithnisanka.com, Nisanka. She's, you're get her now before she's too busy. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. And I just want to add, this is all little drop of wisdom that you share in your, program. And yeah, this is thanks to you, I would say.
Bless you.
Thank you
Uh,
so much.
take care.
Oh, you're frozen.